And then I would just say about Appalachia, I think with a nod to J.D. Vance, who may not be in this room right now, but I think you'll be hearing from him later. I think it's wonderful to be able to tell your story from a specific point of view. I think where a disservice is happening around Appalachia is this idea that people are can pull themselves up by their bootstraps when we've had years of exploitation and extraction to deal with, and systems that are broken, and a government that has left us in a lot of ways desolate. So one way to turn that on its head is to talk about the ways in which local communities are showing up, both within themselves and then as a region, to think about what is the new economy for us? What does justice look like in Appalachia? How do arts and culture play a role? That's a huge piece of it, and it's an exciting piece. And then this real cultural rootedness that a lot of us have. There's even a whole degree you can get, Appalachian Studies. I have a master's in Appalachian Studies. It's the most random, wonderful thing. But just to ground you in your culture is something that's really spectacular.
Thank you. So Brian, you can speak either to the national perspective or to your Great Plains perspective of what you think the main barriers to proper understanding of the world you're part of are.
You see this trend, particularly again since the election, media, philanthropists, policymakers to a degree, all sort of suddenly interested in rural people like we are an exotic species to be studied. And it's not particularly helpful, especially because in most of these narratives, the folks that are writing them, they haven't come to visit for a day, let alone for a month. They haven't done what, Jim, you and your wife set out to do. And so the narratives are very superficial, and they miss a lot of the fabric of the communities that we live and that we work in. And also that, both to Whitney and to Tim's point, rural is spiky and rural is diverse. Just like urban is spiky. There are rural areas that are doing well, there are rural areas that are struggling. There are urban areas that are doing well, there are urban areas that are struggling. And then on the diversity point, an increasing amount of our work in rural Nebraska is with new immigrant populations. Mm-hmm. We're working in communities like Schuyler, Nebraska, a town of 6,000 people in east central Nebraska that is 70% new immigrant. Yeah. 30 to 40% of the clients in our small business program receiving technical assistance and financing through our organization are now Latino. So that's the changing face, and that's the reality on the ground that I think often gets missed in the national narrative.